actually safe. Now, public health professor Simon Chaffin from Sydney University joins us now. Simon, good morning to you. It's a big question, I guess. Where do you start with it? Look, most people who are using them are doing it because they're worried about keeping on smoking, so they should be worried. And so it's hard to think of a product group that so many of its customers hate using it and are actually disloyal to it, are actively trying to get out of it. So that's why the market is booming for them. They're being sold as an effective way of quitting smoking, but in fact the data which is coming in is suggesting what most people are doing who are buying them are not stopping, they're using both. So it's a bonanza for the tobacco companies who are now buying these up. And the real concern too is the kind of the whole rebirthing of the respectability and the glamour of the Smoking Act.
Yeah, there's not a lot of research that's been done on the effects of these either. Do we know if there is anything harmful inside them in terms of the data?
Look, you compare a cigarette, you compare one of those things. There's no contest. These are a lot less dangerous.
Yeah.
There's no sensible argument on that level. But that's not to say that they are safe, in inverted commas.
See, from my point of view, I would say, and this is through ignorance obviously, but I would say, well, it's got to be better than smoking.
Well, a lot of people would think, well, if I'm using both and I'm smoking less, supposing I used to smoke 20 cigarettes a day, now I'm only smoking, say, 15 or 12, surely that's got to be better for me. But in fact, if you look at all the big studies that have been conducted around the world, there's one in Korea which had 500,000 people followed for, I think it was 10 or 15 years. The people who just cut back didn't have appreciable decreases in health problems. So really, you're fooling yourself if you think you can use both. What you should do if you're going to be using these things is to really stop smoking cigarettes.
All right, so you get onto these and you don't go back. It's always the hard thing to do, isn't it? Because it is actually, it's much like the process of smoking, and so it's as close to smoking as possible. And it's that process that people actually like as well.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people who smoke are comforted by having something they can do with their hands, to be able to fidget with something, they feel naked without it. So this kind of keeps that whole thing going. So it's a bit of a worry.
Interesting. So just finally, your advice?
Look, if you're trying to quit smoking, realise that for some people it can be hard, but a lot of people who quit smoking say, hey, what was all that about? I found it surprising.